What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Blood Bowl 3. We're gonna go right back in with the Elven Union team. Now, they just had a patch, and they actually fixed a lot of stuff. The game is kind of playable now, honestly. Most of the crashes have been solved. I think there's a couple that are still there. The menus are way faster now. All the cosmetics are back. They gave everyone the extra warp stone. So things are looking up. It was a very quick and effective patch. We're just gonna spin into a game and see what we can get. I also am pretty sure that the matchmaking, they added a team value limit for the disparity, because since the patch I haven't had an absolutely ridiculous separation of strength, and it looks like we're actually going to be against Chaos Chosen. Fan factor of 7. Although looks like he actually doesn't have any skills. That player has 14 SPP. He's going to be an exactly 11-man team. All right, well, let's see how it goes. Now, our opponent doesn't have tackle, so our dodge pieces are going to be extremely powerful here. Our opponent did take a bribe. It's pretty threatening. And we're just going to set up in our usual defensive formation, I think. And we'll go from here. Now, these chaos matches are always really interesting because all the pieces are effectively strength 4, although the beastmen are only strength 4 on a blitz. Alrighty. And he's going to just put all of his pieces on the line, it looks like. We're going to get a pretty... Oh, one of your players without learner gains a primary skill of your choice. Okay. Interesting. We're going to pick block, I believe. Where is block? Am I blind? Can you scroll? I guess block is not an option. So instead we're going to pick dodge. Oh, it's because it had selected a player that already had block. I see. Okay. Do we not get to pick the piece for intensive training? I'm actually not sure how that works.
I should probably say something meaningful to all our cabal.
Well, we have another blodge piece for the half, which is very useful.
Likes to be well assisted in a fight.
We do have to just attempt to not get absolutely murdered.
Nothing good comes from spending any time on the ground in this game.
As Chaos are still very good at the bash play. Oh, wow. He does fail the pickup. No, and it scatters into another player.
Grab the ball, please. Stop.
Interesting. I think we're just going to take a nice easy hit on this side, and we're just going to get into his way over here. Now, I want to know how you guys feel after this patch, because Honestly, after this patch, I'm feeling pretty good about the life of this game. If they patch things as quickly as they just did, then hopefully we'll be able to start doing leagues. They even made the announcement about the admin tools. Things are looking pretty good. Now, granted, the game itself is a little bit of a mess for launch, but if they can fix things quick enough,
They could follow up.
I'm excited to actually
They
continue
wisely
playing this game
decided not to.
over Blood Bowl 2. I love the new
Safety in
rules.
numbers.
Some people don't agree with that, but
Oh, that's very nice.
to each their own. I am a little sad that Lizardmen aren't in the game. That was my primary team. But, you know, new rule set. Might as well change up your play style. Just a little. See if you can enjoy anything new. And our opponent is going to get the POW on our Blodge piece.
That'll help the player move without risk.
And he is KO'd. Unfortunate. Now, thanks to the kickoff event, we do have another Blodge piece that we can lean on. It is really difficult for our team to deal with all the Strength 4 pieces, unfortunately.
Did you know? It's rumored that Spike magazine editor Yore Rino actually hates sport and would rather play.
Wait, is that... Wait, what?
He does
The
use a
ball is in the
reroll to pick
player's
up the ball that time,
What next?
which is understandable. Failing it too many times in one turn can really lead to some bad outcomes. Alright, well, we're going to start pushing it in and zoning our opponent here, I believe. We can actually knock down a couple of these pieces here. Just need to get a push here.
They're still standing.
And we do have to rely on a 1 dice, but it is with block. And a push is fine in this case, as we are just trying to knock our opponent back.
That'll help the player move without risk.
And then we are going to take this 1 dice on the troll with wrestle.
Hey, that plan looked almost competent.
We're going to be pretty happy with how that turned out. Now, typically you don't want to be in a straight line like this, but we have sidestep on 2 of the pieces, so it is
very quiet. He may not be
barely alright for us. Now in this matchup, we do have a massive skill advantage. We just have to effectively deal with our opponent's strength 4 correctly, and should be good to go.
That's a natty little move. Still,
He does
I'm
get a
willing to bet
knockdown on
good
us.
punch will have him face down in the mud. Another player on the ground. The coach will be spitting teeth about this.
And we do have a fairly decent chance of actually hitting the ball carrier. It's just a 1 die into, well, a 1 die. But with block, I think we're going to take those odds.
Is the assist going to be enough to come out on top?
Fortunately, it doesn't pan out that way. And because he moved that piece, we actually don't have a surf, so we're just going to knock him back.
That could have been worse.
We're just going to bring our blitzer back in here. Fortunately for us, we've actually put ourselves in a pretty bad spot. So we're going to be dodging here. Taking this hit on this Beastman.
Now his buddy can move free.
It's just a stun. But at the moment, that is about what we can hope for. And I am actually going to take another 1 dice, I think.
Come on, guys.
Fortunately.
Together.
And we're okay with it because of Wrestle.
He's wrestled into the ground. Oh, awesome.
Then we are going to come over here, knock back this Beastman. This time we're actually going to follow, I believe, so that we can bring this guy over and get a 2 dice on the Chaos Blocker. Which is only going to result in a push, but because of that push, we're actually going to be able to we actually don't want to do that, so we're just going to push him this way. We're going to break away from the troll. I believe we're just going to dodge this piece away. I've put us in a very bad spot here. We're just in a bashing war with a bash team.
They've got the advantage, but there is no sure thing in Blood Bowl.
Oof. He's going to be able to put our elf right back onto
Now
the troll.
that's a real mess.
We're almost hoping for just a turn where the troll gets really stupid.
Come on, guys. Together.
We should be able to do a lot with even 1 turn of that.
Count those teeth, Jim. They'll have to pick up most of them off the ground in a few seconds' time. They push them back. Personally, I'd abduct them.
Now, you have a fairly simple 2 die on that player there. And we always have the chance of this working on the side here with 1 dice, but it's getting harder and harder to justify it. We are just gonna
A snotling baked in a
take
pie.
our 2 die here.
Chance for this kid. Hungry. Where's the nearest pie shop, Jim?
I'm gonna just open up that 1 die play again. Ah. I think we're actually gonna have to just go for it.
This is going to be decisive.
It's just too simple of a play that could just pay out so well. So we're gonna do exactly that.
This player likes to be well assisted in a fight.
Doesn't work out. We'll just push him away again
Pushy.
and take a 2 die here. Knock that player away. Push him back.
The domino effect in action.
And we'll actually leave that player on the ground so that he doesn't cause any issues. Well, actually, we'll move this guy out of the way so he can dodge away.
Not bad.
We'll keep him closer to the right side. Because that's where our opponent would probably try to break out from. The main thing is we need to make sure we're only giving our opponent the one hit every turn. Every chance we get to push one of these players away or back, we should take it. Oh, he's starting to line up the strength 4 pieces into our face pretty roughly here.
On the edge of the field there, within grasping range of the fans, and they're looking hungry.
Unfortunately, this blitzer no longer has dodge, so he's going to get hit by that. And we do have a fairly easy 1-die with Wrestle Piece. He does bring in the piece to make it harder, though. Alrighty, so we do have a hit on the ball. Just have to knock this guy down. Alright, we do get the stumble.
He's now as free as a ball in a
And we do get an injury to back it up as well, thank goodness. It's going to relieve a lot of pressure from us. He does use his apothecary, which is rough for us. And he concedes. Alrighty, well, I guess we'll take that. We're just going to spin again, because that's not really a game. Almost appears as though that guy's just trying to protect his team and get any SVP he can. Which is, unfortunately, a way people can play right now since it can't be banned. So we're just going to spin and find a new game. Hopefully. I've heard people are constantly spinning into the same players, which is not the best. Looks like we are having a pretty hard time finding an opponent. Well, after that concession, we're probably just gonna call it there for the night. Still feeling a little under the weather, so quick game is all we really needed. Next week will be better.
Welcome back, Blood Bowl fans.
Interesting. It appears as though the game decided that we were still in queue, so now we're in our game. Alright. So here we are against Orcs. That was interesting. He has 2 Mighty Blow and 3 Block on Biggins. It's going to be a very interesting game, to say the least. And we're just going to take being 35k down. And then it... Okay. Alright. Interesting turn of events that we're now playing this game. Fairly sure we were going to be calling it there. But it appears they have different ideas for you guys. So you're gonna get to see another game here. Yikes, Mighty Blow. Mighty Blow's gonna do a thing for our opponent for sure. Alrighty. Alright, so let's just kick the normal spot right in the middle. Decent kick right in the middle.
Today,
Our opponent
the length of the
decided
game is
to
completely unpredictable.
field the Goblin instead of a lineman. Well, I guess you do that on offense more so you can foul.
Looks like the players have finally remembered we're not playing soccer.
Alright, so our opponent did roll double skulls on his first turn there. So we are going to force ourselves through this little gap.
How are they going to catch or run with a ball if they're constantly writhing around on the ground?
We're just going to bring as many players as we can through there. And then just to be safe, we're actually going to knock down this biggin. Or attempt to.
Oh dear. I hope that player has written a will, Bob.
Written? Players can barely speak, Jim.
Don't get the
right.
knockdown.
You should know. You've interviewed
So we are going to just try to screen a little bit on this side, stop our opponent from running away with the ball. Now, putting the threat on him here forces him to either pull back or to absolutely shoot forward.
Scoops up the ball with ease. You can't argue with that call, can you, Bob?
Alrighty.
Now it's fighting. Really.
We're going to get hit there, and it's just a stun, thankfully.
There's only one word to say about this, Bob.
Not a word, Jim. A sound. Crunch.
We're just going to get pushed here, thankfully. So our opponent does manage to get his cage up and back.
As a fart in a thunderstorm.
It's a very fragile cage. It's one of the corners is just a goblin. We should be able to run back there and get some pressure.
Oh, too easy.
He's going to blitz the big one over here and get a hit on our catcher. Looks like he's going to move our lineman or our other
Even Seabish would
player back
struggle
into
to untangle that.
more of a tackle zone. And he is going to get the pow on our blodge piece.
Hey, that place is almost competent.
He does live. Alrighty. We are going to just run the pieces up here. To threaten his cage. We are going to be able to just blitz away here with our catcher, as he does have a dodge reroll and block to hit the goblin with. We are just going to get a push, however. We're going to be able to stick ourselves right on the ball carrier. And we'll dodge away with this piece, also with sidestep to put ourselves in the ball. And we'll take a nice free hit on this big one.
I should probably say something
Only get a
meaningful to
push.
all our Cabal Vision viewers. All I can think of
Are
is
going to stay
splat.
marking these pieces just so it's a little harder for our opponent to deal with the cage pressure. I think we are going to make a dodge here in order to stop that piece from moving. All right.
That player should punch the other enemy players quickly before trying anything else.
He's going to bring the troll back. Now I'm sure he can get the ball loose. But us having this much pressure on it this early is a very good sign. Especially not being down any pieces just yet.
Is the assist going to be enough?
He's going to fail the knockdown on our blitzer, which means we're going to be able to
That
sidestep
is
and
as
keep
slippery as
ourselves
an eel,
there.
but not quite as cuddly.
So, no matter what, it looks like we're going to be able to get 2 dice on the ball. He does only get a push on our catcher as well, which is great news.
They could follow up, of course, but they've wisely decided not to.
He does get a 2 dice. Hitting with the catcher. He chooses to follow, or with the ball carrier, which gives him another 2 dice. He rolls skulls
Oh, too easy.
into another push. Now it does make our hit on the ball a
That'll do.
little harder to pull off.
there's only one word to say about this ball.
He does get a pow
Not a
on our
word,
catcher.
Jim. A sound. Crunch.
But he's A-okay.
A snotling baked in a pie.
And he does roll
stands
double
more
skulls
chance
again.
with this
He
boy.
uses another reroll. I'm not
That's
sure I
right.
would have done that.
I'm getting hungry.
He's down to
Where's
one
the
reroll
nearest
now.
pie shop, Jim?
Does result in a stun, however. Does take the 1 dice on our alignment and gets the POW. That's rough.
That
He was
player's a little
probably our
short.
best option to
Oh
blitz
no, my
with.
mistake. He's on the ground.
No. We do have fairly easy 1 dice. But 1 dice is not exactly what we wanted for this hit. It looks like that's most likely going to just be our best play. So we are going to stand up elves back here. I think we are just going to stand up this catcher. And I believe we are just going to go for this blitz.
Oh dear!
Ah, we
Is
do
that
fail
a
it.
good tackle or a bad dodge?
Unfortunate. There was other ways we could have done that, but that was the greedy way that would have most likely given us a point.
That player was about to get punched
Oof,
above
and our opponent rolls double skulls again.
At the same time.
He's down to 0 rerolls now.
Fight me some action.
He seems a little stunned, doesn't he?
Any bad dice for our opponent now is going to result in probably the game. Now we do have our wrestle lineman up on that side. Fortunately, our opponent is able to make a fairly reasonable screen cage. Stop us.
They've got the advantage, but there is no sure thing in Blood Bowl.
He won't leave him alone anytime soon.
Is just a stun. We are perfectly okay with.
What's that player doing, Bob?
They look to be rolling on the ground in agony, Joe.
Our opponent does have a very
And
loose
here
cage.
comes the other
I think
team.
we may actually be able to... Oh, not anymore. With double going for it, we can still hit him, actually. And with 2 rerolls and our opponent not having any, that may be our play here.
Should they be stomping on the player's neck with those studded boots that hard?
And he rolls another POW.
Looking, so yes. He's on him now.
Mighty Blow fails to
Like
do
a
anything,
halfling on a
thankfully.
hot dinner. That one's got fists
Oof.
bigger than ham joints.
He rolls the really stupid without the assistance.
If I had a gold crown for every player I've seen lying on the field during my career, well, I could start my own team. You only need 1,000,000 gold, right?
We're just going to stand up some elves to get in the way here. I'm going to bring this guy over just in case this play goes horribly wrong. I think we are going to just go for this 1 dice blitz with block. It is a double going for it, but I think it's worth taking the chance. And I'm actually going to use the reroll. I am greeting for this, but... And we do get the knockdown.
A prone player is a dead player. Oftentimes, at any
It does get possibly the absolute worst scatter, but we're going for stalling at the moment, so that is a-okay. We're just going to bring pieces over here, and we are going to dodge away from this troll. Dodge fails, we're just going to accept that.
They can't even run!
player should be brain transplant.
And really stupid does roll, so now we can move away from the troll. Not sure why he's not just bringing a piece over to help there.
Count those teeth, Jim. They'll have to pick up most of them off the ground in a few seconds' time.
He does get a knockdown on our blitzer. We're actually going to move him toward the ball. He does just get a push. He pushes us onto the ball, which may scatter it wildly. Just moves one space over.
Oh dear. I hope that player has written a will, Bob.
Written? Players can barely speak.
Does just get a push. And now the ball is clear, so he'll probably go for the pickup on his thrower again, as he does have sure hands.
For this play.
He finally gets to hit with block, which does knock out our piece. I've been getting pretty lucky on those injury rolls this game, so I can be very happy with only having one knockout when our opponent has three mighty blow, actually. He does come in with his big end to get another hit on our lineman. He actually blitzes the big end to our lineman in the back.
Circle of happy serenity. Aren't they a bunch of happy claps?
Sorry to interrupt you.
That player better get up. Nothing good comes from spending any time on the ground in this game.
Alrighty. He has to go for the pickup now.
A loose ball is a dangerous ball.
He does actually fail the pickup.
Fast.
Alrighty. We're going to take a hit on a goblin up here, I think. We're going to use block just to guarantee it. And he does have two big ends on the outside here, so we don't actually have the greatest odds of knocking the ball down. What we can do, however, is scatter the ball. So we are going to just bring up this piece here to hit this guy. And we're going to knock him into the ball, see where that puts it.
Almost competent. Forget the ball. Just try dishing out a few whacks.
And it puts it in still not a great spot for us. Now we can. I think I am going to use the reroll here, as we want to bring over some elves. Do assist over here to knock down this big one. Now we don't have any rerolls anymore. We do have to be very careful here.
He's now as free as a fart in a thunderstorm.
We are going to knock down this
They're
blitzer up
gathering
here.
around that lone player, like halflings round a sandwich.
On the floor
With enough luck, we'll actually try to just pick up the ball. Not the greatest odds, but even if it scatters.
Grease the ball before the start of the match, Bob.
Ooh, it does get caught by an orc, which is unfortunate. Now both teams are just out of rerolls, so it comes down to a good old-fashioned dice roll. Now he does manage to push away one of our players that are on the ball. There are still 2 more marking him. One of which has sidestep. The other, I don't think he can actually get to a person in there to blitz. He's going to go for the hit on our wrestle piece. We are going to wrestle his piece to the ground here.
I should probably say something meaningful to all
He
our
does knock down
Vision
our
viewers.
blitzer,
All I can
but we
think
will
of
put
is
his body in the
splat.
way. As our opponent is probably going to attempt to dodge.
That'll help the player move without risk.
Alrighty. Looks like he can't actually dodge away now, as he's blocked all the paths out. He does take a hit on our lineman in the back. Does take a 1 dice to push the threat to the ball away.
It's like peeling an onion. Remove the layers before you get to the good stuff.
And we are just going to stand up our blitzer here. And stand up most of our players on the ground just as annoyances. And then we're going to take a 1 dice with our wrestle piece, as it is just our best odds. We're going to push from up here, so that if we get a push, we can get another follow-up hit. But we do just get the knockdown. And we're going to stay behind. We're going to get a KO, which is incredibly useful. And hopefully the ball will scatter somewhere toward our thrower, so we can actually score. And it goes directly to where we want it to go. So now we can
More the merrier.
take this hit on this
That's
goblin.
a good choice for this play.
Take him out. Also get a KO.
The defense are dropping like blood.
And then we just
flies
have to
around
push
a
this troll away.
Desiccated carcass. Hey, that play looked almost competent.
And we're actually going to go for a pass play.
Quick and easy. Nothing to see here.
See if we can get into the hands of our
Pass
catcher here.
opportunity there. I wouldn't care. But
And the
coach
pass
might.
reroll gets it, and we'll just score. That was probably one of the sloppiest halves I've ever played. But we fumbled our way through it. Now our extra player is going to make it so that we still field 11. Our opponent's going to have one of his KOs wake up, so he also has 11 players. There is only 1 turn, however. So thankfully, the piece that's still KO'd is his goblin. So we are going to kick the ball right over here. And we're going to get Treacherous Trapdoor, which, as we learned in a couple games ago, is not that big of a deal. And he just rolls a skull. Alright. So now we're going to go into the second half. Oh. We do actually get 1 turn. I forgot. We're going to try to take a hit on the biggin over here. And we do not get it. And we are going to just end the turn there.
What do you make of the passing play, Bob?
I'm not
Now
going
our
to
opponent's
fix my
goblin
words.
does wake up this time,
It's been absolute crap.
and our player's still out, but it's fine. Alrighty. Now this is going to be our half. And the most we have to do is not let our opponent score. So I think we're in a pretty good position. And we're going to position ourselves pretty aggressively here. We can actually knock down all of his pieces. At least on the line of scrimmage. And we're going to have our catcher up here to go for an attempt on the goblin. Alrighty.
The best defense is a good offense. Or the other
We
way
do
around.
get a fairly good kick for ourselves there. We're just going to start taking hits. He does put his thrower on the line of scrimmage here, which is shocking to me.
At last, violence.
You can't argue with that call, can you, Bob?
No.
And we're going to bring this lineman in here like this so that we can get the 2-die on the troll.
Oh, too easy.
And the push, I think, is actually fine. As we wanted to just be able to blitz this goblin and get our catcher into the back.
A good coach always uses the right player for the right job.
And we're just going to put him over here to threaten that. Our opponent has to bring back players. And then we're just going to pick the ball up on our thrower. Who, after that last pass, now has enough SPP to actually level. And he fails the pickup, but we're not going to reroll because we're actually in a fairly safe position, I believe. Because our opponent has to deal with the catcher. Alrighty.
Do you think there's going to be any action at all in this game? I'd like to see something happen, or I'm just going to go and watch Game of Gnomes instead.
Now he has to blitz up there because marking the player doesn't do anything due to Nerves of Steel.
Damn, that player just won't go down.
He's gonna just absolutely overcommit pieces over there. As he has to. Alrighty, so we're going to take our free hit here on the lineman. This is just going to result in a push, but that's A-okay.
then push them back. Personally, I'd have decked them.
And we're going to start moving some pieces over to this side, I believe. As we can just screen up on the left while holding the ball. We're going to take a hit on the big end blocker here. Using our blitzer.
It's going to be decisive.
We do get a KO, which is extreme advantage. Now, the most important thing is that we do ensure that the ball gets picked up here. So we are going to use a reroll here. We have to.
Not enough tackle zones
we don't.
on that ball. And
We
now
just
the
pick up the
opposing
ball.
team has paid the price.
And now we're able to just bring pieces over here as a screen. And our opponent should not be able to stop us. So we're just going to dodge away and stay safe with as many of our pieces as we can. Now, if we do get to the point that we get up 2-1, it's going to be extremely hard for our opponent to catch up. So I think scoring as soon as we see that we can is probably the best play. Alrighty.
Do you miss the old days of playing in the NAF, Bob?
Not really, Jim. A lot more rules in them days. You couldn't just walk into the crowd on a murderous rampage. No, you had to ask permission, fill out a form, and triplicate. These players have got it so lucky.
He's going to get a nice mighty blow hit on our catcher.
Now his buddy can go.
And it is going to injure him. And
I like it.
he'll just miss the next match. That's not a big deal. Now on our thrower, I think the first level up's actually going to be sure hands. We're typically protecting him,
Going for it.
but if someone with strip ball comes and tries to pull some shenanigans, it's going to be fairly rough. Now we could just try to give the ball over to this blitzer and score right now, but I don't think that's actually the correct play. I think we're just going to stay screening our opponent out. Blitzing the goblin here with block.
Now as free as a fart in a thunderstorm.
Okay, we're going to come up here, as well as move this piece here. And we're just going to use dodge to
Nicely done.
get in our opponent's way as much as possible.
The other players stood there like statues, with such easy prey. I may swoop down myself. I fancy a bite.
And our opponent is probably going to be able to mark the ball fairly easily. But him marking us is not that big of a threat, as we do have all these players here too. knock anyone away. Unless he can mark us with multiple pieces, I don't believe it's going to be a chance. And he doesn't bring someone to assist the troll, so really stupid is... Well, it was a 1, so it would have failed anyway, in his credit. Alrighty.
Yum. I've got my McMurdy Squig Burger and my XXXL size cheese shake. Let's watch some Blood Bowl.
And he does get
Slippery like an eel.
a hit on our blitzer
I'll
here.
just squash him next time.
It looks like our opponent doesn't actually have a good way to stop us at all. He does try to mark as many of our pieces.
I've always
as
been
he
a fan of
can.
Adidas.
They sell a rather fetching line of t-shirts.
However, as we only need a push, we actually can just blitz with our ball carrier here. Get that push, and we can score.
That'll help the player move without risk.
Just like that, the game is more or less sealed.
Level gap illegal.
Now, we can't just play absolutely horribly, as there is still a chance. Especially with the troll and a goblin that our opponent could score twice. Now we're going to kick the ball.
And here's the touchdown, which could protect them from a comeback. This might be the end.
Now, solid defense goes off, but I don't think we're actually going to use it. And he's going to get his 3 free hits. It's just a stun.
Thirsty, Bob?
Always, Jim.
Well, how about a refreshing glass of Bloodweiser?
Oh dear. I hope that player has written a will, Bob.
Written? Players can barely speak, Jim, let alone write. You should know.
Let's see if it's a
You've
KO. We do get KO'd there. Now, our opponent does have the ball in the hands of his thrower, so we don't have to be worried about the goblin too much. We are going to just stand in his way and stall every last turn that we can. Now he's probably going to come in and blitz the Mighty Blow Blitzer again. Again, we've gotten very lucky on injuries this game.
Come on, guys, together.
To only have 2 KOs and 1 injury, and for the injury to be a miss next game,
around that lone player,
been pretty fortunate for us. Opponent does go for the push. We're actually going to move this way. Now we can get a couple hits in. We just want to keep our thrower out of harm's way. Really. It'll be the first time our thrower has had a level up. And we're just going to take our free hits here and then screen our opponent back to only give him 1 hit at a time. And we're basically just going to stall out a couple turns. He is moving the goblin into a spot to be thrown, which is very
Also on tonight's show, Big Jobo Hairyfoot comes back from the dead to talk about his remarkably short tenure
So we're
as
actually going to
captain
screen
of
a
the
little bit more on this
Greenfield
side, I think.
Grass Huggers.
Alright, so we're just going to move our pieces over here and take our hits. We'll be perfectly fine with pushes as well. We prefer them to be normal, but
Push the stronger player back. That'll do.
just how it's going to be. We're going to just kind of make like a little wall here. We're going to move our blitzer
Good
up
call.
a space.
Intimidation is the key. It was one of my strengths when I was still playing. Hey, things are getting interesting.
We're just going to leave it like that. Now, I remember they do have animosity to all teammates now, so handing the ball off to the goblin is actually a dice roll. Very interesting way to nerf the orc team was to give them all animosity. Now, the Biggins specifically only have animosity to each other, because they didn't want the ball to get stuck on them, as having the ball in the Biggin is very not ideal. He's going to get a knockdown on our blitzer here.
Fighting?
That'll help the player move without risk.
Now, the throw teammate option is very low odds of working perfectly, which is why you usually accompany it with a reroll, but it looks like he is going to just try to run up, which is the safer play. He is going to have a fairly safe screen as well, as we're not going to be able to do much. Well, we are going to actually have a 1 dice in the ball with a simple dodge. He's going to foul with the goblin. If that gets sent off,
What past don't X3 sponsoring the sport when you were playing, Bob?
which it does not.
Self-polishing cream manufacturer? No. I got no idea where these guys came from.
Could have been really dangerous for him if that got sent off. It would have meant he does not have a chance to get the second point. Now he does roll really
Did this
stupid.
guy leave his brain in the dugout again? They're getting up close and personal, Bob.
You need to be close. So close they can smell your breath and see the dead insects in your teeth.
Now we do just have a 1 dice right there. We're going to move elves over to block our opponents. And we're most likely just going to take that 1 dice hit almost guilt-free.
They may be fast, but once you grab these bozos, you can usually strangle them easily.
Gonna go for that. And we do get it. And then that's actually a very good scatter for us. We're going to dodge away here and attempt to pick up the ball. We do get it, so we'll dodge away with a rush. And we do fail it, but we'll reroll. And there you have it. I am fairly certain that there is no shot our opponent can score 2 points now. So the game is most likely just done here. Now, we played the first half a little rough, for sure.
You know, this reminds me of the time you got bored.
That's exactly what it
chained
means.
all the goblin technicians together to create a living mace.
Oh, yeah. Now that was a weapon of mass reconstruction.
He's going to get a blitz on our ball carrier. But with Blodge, he is just going to get double pushes. Now, getting the ball carrier out of that position is going to be a little rough. Not the hardest thing in the world to do, though. Because he does have dodge.
Thirsty, Bob?
Always, Jim.
Well, how about a refreshing glass of Bloodweiser? Surrounded by adversaries like that, I hope he knows what he's doing.
So we are going to just try to free up our elves over here for safety.
Not a word, Jim. A sound.
And then we are going to just try to run the ball back into the end zone and see if maybe we can score again.
That player went down like a sack of snuffling unmentionables.
Going to go for the full movement. And we're going to just dodge out into the pieces to try to screen for him. And we'll use the reroll. So we may as well. Only 2 turns left. And that'll be that. He does just get in our way.
You know, this reminds me of the time you got bored and chained all the goblin technicians together to create a living mace.
Oh, yeah. Now that was a weapon of mass reconstruction.
I've seen mushrooms.
That was all she wrote. We're just gonna be happy our team isn't dead on the ground. And we just have 1 turn, so we're just gonna blitz the goblin off and score another point, it looks like. opponent hasn't used his blitz yet.
I'm looking forward to these next few matches, Bob.
He does run up the blitzer to mark us. However, we are going to just blitz the goblin and then dodge away most likely. He does fail the rush. He's going to probably reroll.
That's a GFI.
Or
For those less educated amongst you, that signifies a great feat of ineptitude.
So we're just going to blitz the goblin away here. Not get the knockdown, but it's perfectly fine. Weren't really expecting to. And then we're just going to not follow. And we're going to just dodge away into the end zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a touchdown!
And we do have one of our linemen come back, so we don't have to put any important pieces onto the line of scrimmage. And we're just going to pull all of our elves to the back to ensure nobody important dies. And we'll let our opponent beat up our 3 linemen. And we've had a good game. And we'll kick the ball here.
You must realize, Joe, the ref is sacred. You don't criticize
An officious ref is going to stun 2 players.
Ever.
Let's see how much damage our opponent can do.
Get bored. No one has the attention span.
It's just going to be a KO.
Snuggling. When are we going to get to see a game? Now everybody can move freely.
It's going to just be a stun. Unfortunate that our opponent doesn't get any real damage. No SPP for him.
Down we go.
And that'll be the game. So now we get to go see all of our SPP and level ups. Oh, we got MVP on the thrower too. Holy cow. Man, our thrower swimming in SPP this game. Alright, so let's go check out the team. Now, our catcher is missing the next game, but that's perfectly fine. We have our second catcher here. And I believe we're going to make him strip ball. Oh, whoa, actually, that's right. He's got the second level. He needs 8 SPP. But for next time, we're most likely going to be making him a strip ball piece. So on our catcher here, we're actually just going to come over and give him sure hands. So that we don't have to waste our reroll on the ball pickup anymore. And he still has 7 SPP. He does need 1 more in order to get another skill. So that's going to be all of our level ups for now. But thank you guys so much for watching. And it's a long one because of the concession. And we'll see you next time.